Hey, Rob here again. I wanted to do a study, so I did it, on the word made. In 1 John 1:14 it says, and the word, which is logic, the logos, and the logic was made flesh and dwelt among us. So, speaking of Jesus, right? So is it that Jesus was made flesh and dwelt among us? And if he was, when was he made? Or is that word made? We need to look in the root word from the original text in the Greek. What the King James is translated from. I mean, there's other original texts, but that's the one I use. So, I looked in there and I found a word, egeneto. Yeah, egeneto. I looked in the Strongs and they refer to a different word in the Strongs. I can actually look that up right now. Let's see here. Where is that? Okay. It says 1096. So if we go to Strong's 1096, then we'll find 1096 is genomai. Okay, and then the text it says egeneto. So two different words it seems. Now genomai, the one in the Strong's that refers to that word, it means to cause, to be, to become, to come into being. Okay? Problem is that word's not that word there. So what you do when that happens is you try to find the word that's in the text. So we go to egeneto, okay, in the alphabetical order. The E on the front is not it's like an add-on letter. It has to do with the first, second, third person, I think is what it was. So if you go egeneto, right, we're looking for geneto. Okay, so we go in the Strong's to G, and of course the one the Strong's referred to started with a G too, which is a Y in the Greek, same as a G. So geneto. So let's go alphabetically here. We find genealogio. That sounds like genealogical or something. Genealogia. There's Genesis, Genesia. There's Genesis, and there's Genete. Okay, that's the closest we got because we're looking for egeneto. This is genete. There's a T there. It's the only one with a T on the end, and then the vowel. And that one stood out mostly to me. The Genesis one, on the E, the second letter, it has an apostrophe above the E in the Greek text, just like in the original text, so same as this dictionary. So if you study that word real quick, Genesis says nativity. That means nativity. Figuratively, it's nature. Okay, so that one didn't fit context too well. So let's go to the closest we have to that word in the Strong's Concordance is genete instead of geneto in the text. And the last vowel on these words in the Greek can vary and retain the same meaning. So genete, okay, here's the definition. It says birth. And it's a presumed derivative of the base of 1074. So it seems to come from 1074, but it means birth. So we'll go to 1074 and see the word it came from. And it says it's genea, which is generation, implying an age or period. So that kind of doesn't work. But the generation idea But birth. Okay, so generation and birth. Birth is primary. So let's put birth in there. Excuse me. So in the beginning was the Word was with God, right? And it goes on to say, and the Word, or the logic, became flesh, but in this, was made flesh is what it says. Well, we find that the Strong's reference is became, but the closest word we find, it says, the Word was born flesh, or birthed flesh, and dwelt among us. The Word was birthed flesh. And then there's that root word generation. It could, if you put that in there, it would be, and the Word, or the logic, generated flesh and dwelt among us, or was generated. And I think that E on the egeneto, it makes sense. It indicates was, because, the logic was birthed flesh, okay, past tense. And also, it works for generated. Was generated flesh and dwelt among us. Or generated instead of generate flesh. I don't know. So I'm kind of playing with it there, but the bottom line is the closest word is birthed. So it should be the logic, really, was birthed or born flesh and dwelt among us. Doesn't mean he was created flesh. Didn't say God created the flesh and dwelt among us. It says it was birthed. And when Jesus said, before Abraham was, I am, and he was standing there with his body, and then you go back to the Garden of Eden, and it said that God was walking in the cool of the day, if I remember right. But he was walking in the garden. So how can God walk without feet and legs? And what part of God has feet and legs? Jesus. Okay. And so there you go. And God created time. He's not limited to time. So we should understand that. And we also have to understand that just because God created man on a certain day doesn't mean that Jesus wasn't a man all the time, because there's two things here that are the same. It says God created man in his own image, right? In his image. Okay? And who's the image of God in the New Testament? I don't remember, it's Colossians. Image of God. His express image of God. Jesus is the express image of God. So, if Jesus is the image of God, he is the image of God. I think that's in Philippians, isn't it? Philippians 2, probably. And so, if Jesus is the image of God, and God created man in his own image, there you go. God created man in Jesus. And that goes with it, because it says, by him, by Jesus, were all things created that were created in heaven and in earth. So, if anyone has any other things that are true and scriptural, post it and let's pull it together and see how far we can learn of the truth. And I'm not trying to prove anyone wrong. I'm more trying to help everyone learn the truth. You know what I mean? And if I see a brother in a mistake, I would like to... I made a mistake on one of my last vid before this. I said that Jesus told the thief on the cross he'll be with him in paradise, right? The thief that was listening to him, he talked to him. He said, "This day you'll be with me in paradise." And the thief before that, he said, "Please remember me when you come into your kingdom," right? This day you'll be with me in paradise. And I had a commentary saying that he was going to go to heaven with Jesus, and that's not true. I had someone correct me, and he said, thank you, and then, but this. I said, no, thank you. That means that Jesus and him didn't go to heaven. They went to hell, and he got to go on the side of Abraham's bosom in hell. The rich man and Lazarus, remember? The beggar, and the beggar Lazarus and the rich man. The rich man went on the burning side of hell, and Lazarus went on Abraham's bosom, the good side. So Jesus was indicating to that thief on the cross that he was going to end up with Abraham, and that's the paradise side. So, and we shouldn't be offended when we get corrected. We should be excited, and because to come to Christ, we have to humble ourselves, right? We should not try to we just have to be open to Jesus and not try to trust in our own understanding, because man, we're wrong, in most cases. We get chunks of truth, we know in part, we prophesy in part. So we just have to be ready to follow Jesus. He's the truth. So if we conform ourselves to the truth, we're better off, right? And if we admit we're not sure, that's okay. If I'm not sure about something, and like I said earlier in this video, I'm still learning this. There's probably things I'm sure there's stuff in here we can't understand, because God's bigger than our brains and our ability to comprehend even what he had written in the scripture. So, but it's nice to get closer and closer to the truth. I have a scripture on the tip of my brain, like coming into glory to glory, like passing on to glory, or something like that. And it's here a little, there a little, line upon line, precept upon precept. And prophesy in part, and let's just make our parts get bigger that are right, without fretting up on each other. It's all fine, I'm gonna stop wandering around on that issue. And I gotta shut the video down, because I don't like long videos. It's hard for people to tune in. They look at, it's 30 minutes. And if you got this part, turn it off, because it's just rambling if you're busy. But it's better just to have a quick to the point boom. Long videos, there's good long videos, don't get me wrong, but personally I like to do the short quick ones and just straight to the point boom. So bye.